Mary, I want to try something strange with you before we even say the word English today. Imagine someone offers you $5 million, but only if you cut off both your hands and hand them over right now.
Absolutely not. That's a horrifying trade, no matter the price.
What about your eyes, your voice, the one you use to speak, laugh, and yes, even make mistakes in English? Still no for any amount of money.
James, no amount of money is worth that. Where are you going with this today?
Because in a few minutes, you're going to realize that the exact same fear that stops people from writing a check for their own hands is the fear that stops English learners from opening their mouths to speak. It's called worry, and today's episode is about killing it, one simple English word at a time.
Okay, that's a very unexpected connection. I need to hear this.
Today, we're combining two things, a real formula for destroying worry, used by engineers, writers, and even dying patients who healed themselves, and turning every single lesson into English you can actually use today. New vocabulary, real phrases, and a mindset shift for your speaking anxiety. Stay until the end because this episode ends with the exact sentence that can change how you speak English forever.
All right, let's not worry about it. Let's just get into it.
Let's start with two very different people, Napoleon Bonaparte and a woman named Helen Keller.
I know Napoleon had basically everything. Power, fame, fortune, armies.
Everything. And near the end of his life, in exile, Napoleon admitted something shocking. He said that he had not lived even 6 happy days in his entire life.
Wait, 6 days out of an entire lifetime of power?
6 days. Now, Helen Keller, blind, deaf, unable to speak for most of her life, facing obstacles most of us can't imagine. She called her own life beautiful and lived 78 mostly happy years.
That's a complete contradiction to everything we assume about success and happiness.
Because happiness was never about what either of them had. It was about what they carried in their mind. And Mary, here's our first English word for today. The word is exile. E-X-I-L-E. Exile.
Exile. Let's break that down for our listeners. What does it actually mean?
Exile means being forced to live away from your own country or home, usually because you're not allowed to return. Napoleon was in exile on an island called St. Helena. He wasn't allowed to go home.
Okay, that's a powerful word, and I think there's a connection here to English learners, right? Because many of you watching feel like outsiders in this language, almost like you're in exile from feeling confident.
Exactly the bridge I wanted to build. You may feel like an outsider in English right now, but here's the first lesson. Like Helen Keller, your circumstances, your current level, your accent, your mistakes, none of that decides whether you can feel good about your progress today.
So the real skill isn't removing every obstacle before you speak, it's learning to speak anyway, obstacles and all.
There was a physician, Dr. Gobrin, who made a claim that sounds almost impossible. He said 70% of patients who visit doctors could heal themselves if they simply eliminated fear and worry from their lives.
70%? That's a huge number.
In a study of 15,000 patients with stomach problems, 4 out of 5 had no physical cause for their illness at all. Fear and worry were literally creating physical disease in their bodies.
That's honestly frightening. Are thoughts actually making our bodies sick?
Now, here's our English word for this part. The word is manifest. M-A-N-I-F-E-S-T. Manifest.
Manifest. What does that mean exactly, James?
To manifest means for something invisible, like a feeling or a thought, to become visible or real. Worry doesn't stay in your head. It manifests as stomach pain, headaches, sleepless nights.
Oh, that's such a useful word. My stress manifested as a headache. I can already use that in a sentence.
Exactly. And here's the connection to English learning. Worry about speaking manifests too. It's not just a feeling in your head. It manifests as your voice shaking, your mind going blank, your words disappearing right when you need them most.
Oh, that happens to me even in my first language sometimes when I'm nervous.
Which tells us something important. That freeze isn't proof you're bad at English. It's just worry manifesting physically. And that means it's fixable with the right formula, not something wrong with your intelligence.
Okay, I need that formula immediately, James.
His name was Willis Carrier, an engineer on a massive project worth millions of dollars. His equipment failed to perform as promised. Millions of dollars possibly gone, his name attached to the failure.
That's the kind of mistake that keeps you up at night.
It did, until his common sense reminded him that worrying wouldn't fix anything. So he built a 3-step method. Step 1. Ask yourself, what is the actual worst-case outcome here?
Not the vague, spiraling fear, but the literal, specific worst thing.
Exactly. Step 2. Once you know the worst case, accept it fully, mentally. Step 3. Once accepted, focus all your energy on improving it even slightly. Carrier found that with a little more investment, his equipment could actually work, and it turned a loss into a profit.
Worst case, accept it, then improve it. That's such a clean, usable formula.
Here's our vocabulary word for this section. The word is worst case. It's actually 2 words joined together, called a compound word. Worst meaning the most bad, and case meaning a situation. Worst case.
Worst case scenario. I've heard that phrase before, but never really thought about how simple the words actually are once you break them apart.
That's exactly the point, Mary. Most complicated-sounding English phrases are just simple words joined together. And here's how this connects directly to speaking English. Ask yourself, what is the actual worst case if I make a grammar mistake in front of someone right now?
Honestly, thinking about it that way, the worst case is just someone doesn't understand one sentence and I say it again differently.
That's it. That's the entire worst case. Not embarrassment forever, not people thinking you're unintelligent, just one small moment, easily fixed. Once you accept that worst case, speaking suddenly feels a lot lighter.
That's such a relief to actually hear stated so plainly.
This next story is almost unbelievable. Earl P. Henney was diagnosed with an untreatable stomach ulcer. Doctors said survival was impossible.
How do you even process being told that directly?
He was terrified, understandably, at first, but then he decided if he had little time left, why spend it worrying? He booked a world tour, and Mary, here's the detail that makes this almost cinematic. Doctors warned him he might die on the trip, so he brought his own coffin along, with an agreement that his body would be shipped home if he passed away.
He packed his own coffin as luggage? That's remarkably practical and dark at the same time.
And then he lived without restraint. Good food, new friendships, music, storms he genuinely enjoyed instead of feared. He gained 90 pounds on that trip.
And what happened to the ulcer that was supposedly going to kill him?
Pause. Completely healed. Doctors examined him when he returned and found nothing left of it. The disease disappeared once he stopped feeding it with worry.
So the thing that was supposedly untreatable just needed him to stop being afraid of it?
That's the exact mechanism. Here's our English word for this section. The word is restraint. R-E-S-T-R-A-I-N-T. Restraint.
Restraint. That sounds like it's related to the word restrain.
Exactly. Good observation. Restraint means holding yourself back, limiting yourself. Henney lived without restraint, meaning he stopped holding himself back out of fear.
And I'm guessing this connects to speaking English too, right? Because so many learners hold themselves back before they even try?
Precisely. So many of you practice restraint with English. You wait for the perfect grammar, the perfect moment, the perfect confidence before you'll allow yourself to speak. Henney's lesson is simple. Speaking with small mistakes today is better than staying silent, restrained, waiting for a perfect version of yourself that never actually arrives.
Speak without restraint. I actually love that as a phrase for English learners specifically.
This is where we come back to that question I opened with, Mary. The hands, the eyes, the voice. You already refused to sell them for $5 million, which means you're already sitting on wealth no money could replace.
Right. But somehow we get consumed by things worth a fraction of that value, like the fear of one awkward sentence.
Exactly the paradox. And here's a statistic that puts it all in perspective. Research shows 85% of what we worry about never actually happens. And of the remaining 15%, 79% of those situations turn out not to be worth worrying about anyway.
So around 97% of everything we worry about is essentially manufactured fear with no real payoff.
97%. Here's our English word for this part. The word is manufactured. manufactured. Manufactured.
Manufactured, like a factory makes products.
Exactly. And here we're using it in a different way. It means something artificially created, not naturally real. Your fear of speaking English badly is often manufactured, built by your own mind, not by actual evidence that people will judge you.
That's such a helpful reframe. My fear isn't proof of anything. It's just something my mind manufactured out of nothing solid.
And once you see it that way, 97% of your English-speaking anxiety loses its power immediately because you realized it was never based on real evidence in the first place.
So how do we actually build that awareness daily, especially while trying to learn a whole new language on top of it?
This is where everything comes together, Mary. Worry needs an empty space to survive in your mind, and a mind filled with real purpose has no room left for it.
Right, worry needs an empty room to live in.
Exactly. This is where knowing your why for learning English becomes so powerful. Not just, I want to learn English, but the real reason underneath. For a better job, to travel, to connect with people you couldn't talk to before.
So the why gives your mind something real to focus on instead of spiraling about mistakes.
Precisely. And pair that with small goals. Don't aim for speak perfect English today. Aim for, say 3 new sentences out loud today, mistakes included. A goal that small leaves no room for worry to grow.
That connects perfectly with everything we covered. Worst case, accept it, improve it. One small sentence at a time instead of demanding perfection instantly.
And here's our final English word for today. The word is fluency. Fluency. Fluency.
Fluency. Most learners think that's the finish line, the ultimate goal.
But real fluency isn't the absence of mistakes. It's the presence of confidence despite mistakes. Every fluent speaker you've ever heard still occasionally says the wrong word. What makes them fluent is that worry never stops them from continuing the sentence.
So fluency was never really about perfect grammar at all. It was about refusing to let worry win the moment.
Okay, everyone, let's practice speaking these key phrases from today out loud. This is real speaking practice, so say them with us, even if you're alone right now.
Ready? Let's go. Phrase 1. What is the actual worst case?
Say it again. What is the actual worst case?
Phrase 2. I will speak without restraint.
One more time. I will speak without restraint.
Phrase 3. My fear is manufactured, not real evidence.
Say it slowly. My fear is manufactured, not real evidence.
And the last one. Fluency means continuing anyway.
Everyone, say it with confidence. Fluency means continuing anyway.
Beautiful. Keep those 6 words from today in your notebook. Exile, manifest, worst case, restraint, manufactured, and fluency.
So here's your homework before you close this video. Pick one sentence in English you've been too worried to say out loud, to a friend, in a video, even just to yourself. Say it today, mistakes included.
And tell us in the comments what sentence you finally said and one new word from today you're going to use this week. We read every single comment.
And Mary, we've talked today about worry over mistakes, but there's a deeper worry many learners carry, the worry that they started too late, that they're simply too old or too behind to ever really learn. That's a very different fear, and it deserves its own episode.
That sounds exactly like the conversation people need to hear next.
So if you don't want to miss it, you already know what to do.
Subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Name the worst case, then speak anyway.
Even with an accent, even with mistakes. See you next time.